What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 hoop shoes that released so far in 2024. Before we start with the list, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel and leave a like on this video if you enjoyed. It helps me out a lot. And now before we start with the top 5, I have one pair as an honorable mention. It's the Nike Book 1. They are really nice, but in my opinion they're not better than the other 5 shoes on this list, but I still wanted to include them because I enjoyed playing in them. And I enjoy and like what Nike and Devin Booker produced for their first signature shoe together. They retail for 150 euros or dollars. So far, 2 colorways have been released and we've seen some really cool looking upcoming colorways. I really like the all white one, or also the one that's in honor of his dog. Looks really cool. Reminds me a little bit of the LeBron 21 Tahitian, just from this kind of iridescent or reflective look on the shoe. But now for performance. Traction performance is very good, but it's not the best. So you have a good bite on clean courts with minimal dust pickup. I think it will also work well outdoors because the grooves are very thick, but it's not top tier traction, so not a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. The cushioning setup is very interesting. We have a air zoom unit in the heel and just a full bed of cushion foam throughout the shoe. The forefoot is extremely low to the ground. The heel is very plush and comfy. In combination with the materials, it's a very comfortable ride in the heel and, as I said, extremely low to the ground in the forefoot. Of course, the inspiration for this shoe was the Kobe 4, which is Devin Booker's favorite shoe. So in my opinion, that's a perfect hit right there. And support is also there, but it's also not the best. That's also part of the reason why they didn't quite make the top 5. Now for number 5 on my list, we move over to Way of Wade. The Way of Wade 808 Free Ultra Volume 2. This right here is the regular 808 Free Ultra. Also a really good performer, but it didn't release in 2024. Essentially, the two shoes are very similar. The biggest differences are, of course, this one is a high top. You have this elastic material up here. It doesn't do that much more for support, but it's a very comfy feeling. It hugs well around your ankle. And because it's kind of elastic as well and it bends nicely, it's a really comfy fit and doesn't pinch, and the materials in the forefoot are also reinforced and stronger while still keeping the nice breathability of the regular 808 Free. Traction is top tier, also a great setup for outdoors as the Tough OS rubber is used, which is Way of Wade's premium rubber outsole, which is specifically made for outdoors. So if you hoop outdoors, this is probably the best pair on this list. And you also have some carbon fiber here as a shank plate and a carbon fiber external clip on the outside. And of course, a very special feature of this shoe is that they have a drop-in midsole, which is in this case a full-length boom drop-in midsole, which is also Way of Wade's most premium cushioning. Very comfortable and of course a great alternative if you're used to playing in Kobe's. Now moving on to the next pair on this list. This one might come as a surprise. I haven't dropped my full review of them yet, but I'm definitely planning to do so because they are really good. It's the New Balance Fresh Foam BB Volume 2. As you can see, the Volume 2s are kind of taking over this video. We had the 808 Free Ultra Volume 2, now the Fresh Foam BB Volume 2. And as the name suggests, cushioning, we have a dual density fresh foam setup, and it's extremely comfortable. The Volume 1 was kind of stiff. I was a little bit disappointed because I thought fresh foam in a hoop shoe would be very comfy. And on this iteration, they really killed it. The best aspect about the shoe is the comfort. Cushioning is really nice. The materials are so soft. One weird thing about the materials, it kind of looks like a suede here. Also, I have another colorway I can show you off in a minute. It also looks like a suede or like real leather. But on the website and the tech specs, it says 100% synthetic. I actually prefer synthetic materials a bit more because they're not as stiff and they also didn't need any break-in. So maybe it's really just a synthetic. I'm not sure. But very comfortable, very plush, hugs around your foot very nicely. And traction performance is also really good. Not a 10 out of 10, but getting there. A very loud squeak as well, and we have a shank plate for torsional support, but support that's probably the only slight downside of this shoe. I forgot to say they retail for $140 or euros. So the price is also not really a big issue. It's a solid price for today's market. And the only issue I found was that they're a little bit high off the ground. Of course, because there's this dual density midsole, the Fresh Foam midsole, you are prone to be higher off the ground and a tiny bit unstable, like in this area, movements like this. Nothing that really concerned me or that I noticed while playing, but if you're used to low to the ground setups and responsive setups, this shoe is not for you. With that being said, let's move on to number 3 on my list, which is a pair from Nike again, the Nike GT Cut 3. I like them a tiny little bit more than the Fresh from BB Volume 2 because they are lighter and also lower to the ground while providing you with the same amount of comfort. Retail price, of course, is kind of a downside. They are 200 euros or dollars, which is crazy expensive, but you really get top tier performance. Traction performance was very good for me. Also on dusty courts, I had no issues. Dust pickup is there, but if you wipe, you'll be sticking to the court. Cushioning, very, very nice. Zoom X foam, full bed of Zoom X, really plush, really comfy, but also still kind of low to the ground and also a very, very bouncy shoe in my opinion. I don't know if that will get less the longer I play with them, but so far Zoom X has been holding up great. The materials are also really thin, breathable, and most importantly, comfortable. I love how the tongue is reinforced or padded here, and it's just a very comfy ride. And then they're light on foot. They feel like an extension of your foot. You don't really notice them while playing. But also, interestingly enough, the only minor downside of this shoe is also the support category. All the others are top tier, but support is not. We only have a plastic shank, so no carbon fiber or a stiffer material. And because you're sitting on top of the Zoom X, you're also a little bit higher up, not from a feel standpoint, but just from where you sit in the shoe. It's a little bit higher up, which makes it a tiny little bit unstable on really, really hard lateral movements or cuts, which is kind of ironic because the name is GT Cut, so it should be made for that. Apart from that, that's a top tier shoe. If you have the money, I can highly recommend them. The fit was also very nice for me, so I can definitely recommend the GT Cut 2. Now, for the number 2 spot, we're heading over to another brand that hasn't been in the video yet. It's the Adidas Harden Volume 8. You were probably expecting these at number 1, but I have one issue with them now after break-in, and that's just the sizing. I know that's nothing that's kind of got to do with the performance, so that is the shoe's fault. It's my fault. I got the wrong size. I went with my usual size 14, and with Adidas in the past, 13.5 had fit me better, but because I have wide feet, I always size up, so I thought maybe on the 8s, the size 14 will be the way to go. And at first it felt great, but now after break-in, the shoe is just a little bit too long. The toe box just goes up way too far. It feels weird for me on foot and I have too much dead space. So I need to get a pair in a 13.5 to really, really enjoy them properly. That's maybe why I'm also a little bit biased and I have them at number 2. For looks, I would also put them at number 1. I love the design. They're awesome. Traction performance was 10 out of 10. The cushioning setup for me is perfect. Great impact protection in the heel while still being low to the ground in the forefoot, but not just like right walking on the floor like the book wants, but still a little bit of impact protection. The materials are really, really comfy. Support is top tier. And as I said, the design is really good as well. They retail for $160, and that is also the reason why I put them at number 2, including or with the fact that they don't fit me that well, because the number 1 shoe on this list is the Anthony Edwards 1, and they only retail for 120 euros or dollars, which is an absolutely insane price in today's market for such a good performer. I can highly, highly recommend that you get your hands on a pair of the AE1s. The only real weakness they have is that they are pretty heavy, heavier than the Harden 8s, but if you don't mind that, that's the perfect basketball shoe, at least in my opinion. Traction performance, 10 out of 10, also on dusty courts, really, really good. Dust pickup also isn't as strong. I just recently, actually today, got this pair of the Velocity Blues. So far I've been playing with the Stormtrooper colorways, so if I'll show you any clips on screen, it'll be the Stormtrooper, not the Velocity Blue. But I really like the design as well, and colorway selection is crazy. This one looks so clean, just the little green accents here in the back. Of course, you can switch the laces, but in my opinion, it looks better with the blue laces. Let me know in the comment section down below how you would rock them. I've also been thinking about actually making a custom out of these because my club's jerseys are blue and yellow. So I thought maybe I paint over the green with some yellow and put some yellow laces in there, but I'm not entirely sure because the shank plate is also green, so I'm not 100% sure yet. Now getting back to performance, I was a little bit off topic there. Just a great, great shoe overall. The cushioning setup, a full-length Jet Boost midsole is really, really comfortable. Great impact protection while still providing you with good court feel, similar to the Harden 8s. The materials are very comfy. They don't need any break-in. They look stiff. They're not stiff at all, in my opinion. And support is also really, really good. It looks like carbon fiber here. It's not. but you have an external heel counter and, as I said, kind of an X-shaped shank plate. And the only issue I had with them so far on my Stormtrooper colorway was with the insole. They are not glued down, so you can really take them out pretty easily, which is annoying in my opinion. They kind of sometimes fold up on themselves or wrap up on themselves, if that makes sense, when I do really hard stops, either like laterally or from front to back. So that's a little bit annoying. I know a lot of people have had issues with the laces. Personally, I have not had any problems with them. They didn't get undone once while I was playing with them. I always do a double knot, but I've heard other people say it as well, and they had issues with that. So I don't know what's up with the laces. For me, they've been good. And yeah, this is my favorite shoes so far out of 2024. Leave a like, comment down below what you think of my top 5 shoes of 2024 list with the honorable mention as well. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if you enjoyed the content, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel. Also check out my Instagram page or my TikTok page. You'll find short reviews of all the shoes I mentioned here over there. With that being said, see you next time and have a good one.